Right, some Q&A. I'm going to read this out and then I'm going to go through it and then address some of it and pass comment on it. This is in relation to the piece, a couple of pieces I've done that has referenced black people. And this person said, you recently said that you thought black people brought or were the origin of dark magic into this world, but didn't say how or why. Obviously, that wasn't a hit easy on the ear for me or any other black person listening, I should imagine. So I'd be grateful if you expand on that sometime and tell that story no holds barred. Well, my comment to that is I made it quite clear in the show. I do not know the origin of the dark magic. It's something I would like to find out, whether it's intrinsic in the black people's makeup, genetics, or whether it was introduced to the black people at a later date. I just don't know. I would like to find out that answer myself, because it has created a big problem on this planet. It's not a denigration of the black people. It is what it is. Like I said, I don't know the answer of whether they were seeded and brought here with that magic or whether they were seeded after they came here. I was also covered in the From Russia with Love series. On your latest show, you talked about reparations for slavery, and during that talk, you, to my ears, seemed to imply the responsibility for slavery lay mostly with the Africans selling each other out. While I know there's truth in that, again, I'd be grateful if you could elaborate, because hopefully it's not that simple or cut and dry. Well, my response to that is what took place. That is what a lot of his story won't tell you. It was down to the African people to round up their own people, and they sold it to the ship owners. So we're talking reparations. That was your original source of the money and the funding. The African people rounded up their own people. Now, it's none of it is pleasant. But to turn around and say the slave owners, who are now all dead, including the people who suffered terribly by slavery, that people in the modern day should receive money for what their ancestors suffered, to me is wrong. But you cannot carry on. It's like the Jewish people, and I will reference it later. It's not an attack on the black people, and it's not an attack on the Jewish people either. But we have to set history right with the truth, not the lies. The lies continue to divide and conquer. And the African people have to address that their ancestors sold their own people. Otherwise, they just carry on blaming the whites. I'm not saying the whites were not good. I don't advocate for any slavery, no matter which colour you are. It took place, but you can't ignore a vital piece of history. The person goes on and says, clearly there's an anti-black agenda or programme that was uploaded into the Matrix long ago by the powers that be. I thought the reason was because melanin made one more resistant to mind control. They favour blue eyes and blonde and red hair, as you know, or because blacks were the original race. This is the problem. is that one group always feels that they were more victimised than others. The reality is we all were victimised. Doesn't matter what colour you were, what country you came from, what religion you are, what sexuality you are. It matters not. Now, you mentioned that they favour blue eyes and blonde hair. Please explain why they genocided the Rus people, why they genocided the Yugoslavian people 20 years ago, why they are trying to genocide Iran, which is known as the land, well, the etymology of Iran is land of the Aryans. Why have the Iranians got blue eyes? So, again, that is his story, not our story. You also mentioned they favour people with red hair. Well, there was a massacre of red-haired people in Peru. There was a massacre of mainly red-haired people in Ireland. And they've been doing hell and all to the red-haired people in the Basque region. Again, his story won't tell you this because they want you to focus on their story. And they want you to believe that one group of people always gets the shitty end of the stick. The person went on, perhaps this is wrong now. There has been an element of paying off old karma. Has there been an element of paying off old karma from a different cycle as well? To be honest, that sits better than black people just drew a short straw in the game. I'm not asking these things so I can blow a fuse or have a pity party. I'm much more interested in healing and moving forward. It's just been quite frustrating and difficult internally trying to rationalise the experience of being in a culture where you're less than because of skin colour. Fair comment. Now, what all people, not just black or Jewish, have to learn to train your brain to think different. Not what you've been taught, either in history or in life. It's just follow the pattern. But most people jump into defensive mode of their own particular group and don't hear what is being said. People of California jumped on me last week because of a piece last week because they're from California, but they're not listening. People always jump into the defensive mode of their own particular group. We have to change that thinking pattern. Now, for example, if we asked a survey of the alt media, which is the most popular skin colour of the cabal, I think most would say white mainly. But do you hear anyone saying it's unfair, this show, and many others in the alternative media, that we're picking on the white race cabal? No, of course they don't, as that's overlooked. And this is the key aspect of life and society currently, which is heavily programmed into the victimhood mode to defend their own personal group, be it minority or other, and in some cases cults. We have to train our brain to think different. not jump to the defensive because Thomas said this about lesbians, or Thomas said this about gays, where all lesbians and gays jump in, or Thomas said this about feminism, which was largely, well, actually 100% approved, which is a bit of a surprise to me. But we have to stop doing that. And we all do it. Make no mistake, I'm no different. I've done it myself. But we have to learn to train our brain to think different. I hope that helps. I've bracketed 3 people's questions into one, and I'll do the same in the next lot. There's a theme that runs through it. Would it be timely to discuss once again the peace treaty on an up-and-coming THI show? Second question, Kim talked about the peace treaty in 2016 for the planet. Can we find out more information on the treaty? What does it say? Who wrote it and who signed the treaty? And the third one, exactly what is the peace treaty and what actions by beings on this planet will be in breach of the treaty and or against universal law? The full details to date on the peace treaty have all been covered in all of the shows. They're probably more prevalent in the UPU show, which is in the archives on thinkdifferent.thepeoplesclub.org, and maybe in the earlier Kim shows, not the last couple. It was heavily referenced in them as well. Next set of questions. There's 3 of them again, and I'll address them again in the same way. Is I connected with Source a while ago. One listener said, I collected the keys, my life turned around for the good. I feel that I'm under attack to make me doubt what I believe. I know that a timeline shifts, I think almost the same as you do. Now I am at a point where I don't know what to do. Do you have any advice for me? Second, with all the programming that has occurred on mass level, for example through TV, electronics or gaming devices, do we need to be prepared for illness triggers that may activate upon cabal demand more directly when the bullshittery hits the fan? Are the folks sitting around unknowingly like time bombs to create mass illness as a needed distraction? If yes, do you have any details of how we can be prepared and to help? And the third one, I am being tormented again in my sleep by a dark entity. When I woke for the first time, I was aware of it. The second time, I gained clear enough consciousness to confront it. As I was waking, I could perceive it. This person dealt with it and wants to know what is this thing and how to stop it. All these 3 questions all relate to the Shielding document, which is available for you all. I have warned several times to use the Shielding document. It's there for your benefit, and it needs to be part of your daily routine. Certainly every couple of days. You can't put yourself in that amount of danger by ignoring it. And the Shielding document, and I did a whole op-ed piece on it roughly 2 months ago, was it? 2 or 3 months ago. You can listen to that show again. It's for your benefit, it's not for mine. And it's your responsibility to go and make use of that document. Some like to do their own shielding. I've given what I consider to be helpful, but you have your own imagination, your own ideas, and see what works for you. But you have to shield up. We're dealing with I think the overriding word on the planet now is desperation. There's an awful lot of desperate people out, not just the people who are struggling for food and in wars and poverty, etc., but the cabal, the top corporations, the clowns. Desperation. And when desperation sets in, panic follows, and they start throwing things around to try and stop you, because it's us that is creating that desperate situation. And by us I mean all of us in the alternative community. They can't handle it. So please use the shielding document.